This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Welcome to How to Money with Kole and Kole.
I'm Kole.
And I'm Kole.
We coach people every day on their money and how to plan for the future.
As financial advisors, we're here to have an honest conversation and educate you on investing, retirement, and everything in between. And we'll throw in some sports talk along the way.
Our mission and goal of this podcast is to improve your money journey and help you create the financial life you deserve.
So let's talk money.
And sports.
Welcome back to How to Money with Kole and Kole. I am Bailey Ashbrook, sitting here with financial advisors Kole Petersen
What's up?
and Kole Jaskey.
How's it going, everybody?
We also got a special guest. He doesn't have a mic right now, so we'll save that. But guys, don't want to forget Caleb.
How's it going, everybody?
We almost forgot him.
Producer
like every time,
Caleb.
it's kind of like the ongoing,
Yeah,
thing,
we
you know?
don't do it on purpose
No.
either.
It's okay. It's okay. I don't mind being forgotten sometimes.
The forgotten child. But guys, what's up? Where have you been? Summer.
Cole J's playing some good golf right now.
We've been busy.
Yeah. I know it is nice. I'm not breaking any clubs or anything. I did have a club
You break clubs?
But no, temper tantrum every now and then. So I've had a few.
Cole J has some major temper tantrums on the golf course.
I got a minor, temper, I would say.
Competitiveness.
Yeah, I'm pretty competitive.
So
I'm that guy. You heard that quote of I hate, I'd rather, I hate losing more than I like to win.
Yeah.
So I
feel that. So you won the Sac City tournament?
Yeah, Father's Day weekend.
Congrats.
I don't know if I quite earned it, but I won it. So I would say
the most modest.
Yeah.
Well, even if you didn't earn it, you didn't lose it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you got runner-up at Gallery?
Yep, that's my my hometown course. I was going for three in a row.
Sure.
I had a couple minor little mistakes and probably cost me, but it was good. It's fun. It's been fun. The weather's been great for golf. So
it'll be great for this weekend.
Yeah,
because you golf this weekend.
Yep. It felt like fall last night. I don't know if
The weather outside's pretty awesome right now.
Loved it. And then Kole P, what have you been up to?
I'm heading to New York this weekend.
New York.
Yeah.
Go Cubs, go!
Yeah, Cubs play the
Need
Yankees.
a little run here.
Yeah.
That'll be
Are
awesome.
you going to New York just for the Cubs game?
Well, we're going with the Cubs. The Chicago Cubs destinations is off. They went to London when they played St. Louis in London, and then their other trip was to New York. So this is with the Cubs group, but you book your own flight. They book the hotel and the tour of Yankee Stadium and the tour of New York and all that stuff. They take you on a bus and do that.
So it's like a whole experience, not just the game.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hear it. I've never been to New York. So.
And on Sunday we get to sit in the suite with all the temperature
you
control.
You and
all
the
that
Steinbrenners,
stuff. I don't think that sweet, but it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Weather looks pretty good. There might be some rain on Sunday, so good thing we're in the suite that day. But that's the trip we've been looking forward to for
some
a while.
quality time with your wife.
Yeah.
How about you, Bailey? What have you been up to? We always get to talk. Though. What have you been up to? Lugging kids around?
I'm a boring person.
Oh, you are not. You've been doing stuff.
Yeah, lugging the kids to some summer camps. Went to the zoo.
What zoo?
Omaha.
Oh.
Okay, so you're in Omaha.
Yep.
4th of July weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was exciting.
Was it hot?
You
It
seem
always seems to be
excited.
really hot. At
It was
the zoo.
raining the whole day, actually.
Yeah, every time I've gone to the zoo, it's like
It was actually
95.
It was better because it was raining. Because the next day was like 90. But it was, I got the little one still. We're still in the grinding years. We got 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 6-year-old.
Oh, wah. Try having two of them at the same time.
Market's been solid. That's kind of
Yeah.
we are a financial podcast, so we should
Yeah.
talk a little finance. It's been a good first half of the year.
Yeah, the first half of the year has been awesome, and I know that we're looking forward to the rest of the year. Cole's got a stat later that he'll share with you about what our expectations are possibly for the rest of the year. But the financial markets have been, they're talking about interest rates raising, and just today, we're taping this on July 6th, so today the market's getting crushed. But
Always seems to happen, right? We're talking about the
right.
past and
Right.
something
Podcast.
crazy's going on. So.
yeah, but positive returns and positive momentum in the right direction. Kind of what we expected for this year after last year being down so much, but hopefully that just continues.
It's a breath of fresh air to be able to, whether or not we hold or not, to be able to, have some positivity. It seems like we were having nothing but negative conversations, or questions of why is it going on this? It's a little nice to see just emotionally for clients to see positivity on their statements and, even for us personally to see, gains in our account balances.
We have certain accounts that we can lock and gain certain annuities, allow you to do that. And I've been doing that lately. And it's like, I hadn't done that for 2 or 3 years.
Haven't had the opportunity.
No, I haven't. That's been crazy. So that's been awesome.
Hey, I know we're talking about finance, but I forgot to ask you guys something. Have either of you won a national title?
Have not. Can't say I got that to my notch.
Should we introduce our guest?
I can't say I've even contended for a national title.
Caleb, how about you?
Never. Not even close.
I have contended, but I lost.
I didn't never even had a chance to contend.
All right. Well, let's get to our guest then.
Okay, we're back with Ben Egley, his first podcast experience, our summer intern. Ben, hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Caleb, you're not the youngest one in the room for the first time.
Hey, for our listeners that don't know Ben's the athlete, the current athlete in the office. A lot of former athletes in the office. But Ben, I got a question just to kick us off here, kind of like an icebreaker. What's your favorite workout or what's your favorite lift? He's a football player, college football player, national title winner
Just
at
won
Northwestern.
a national title.
College up in Orange City, Iowa, correct?
Yep.
And you wrestled too, right?
Yeah,
you wrestled
I wrestled this year, but I won't be wrestling next year, so I'll just focus on football.
So what's your favorite lift?
Favorite lift? I'm big leg day guy, so I'm gonna have to go with the regular back squat.
Ooh,
classic. Gosh, okay. Yeah, Cole's got back problems, so you're out on the squat, right?
I don't even know what that is.
You're out on the squatting.
Oh my gosh. So golfers don't lift?
Oh, they
no, I thought it was crazy when I got to the University of Northern Iowa how much they expected us to lift.
Like, I was planning on
used to
golfing.
it.
You're like, I'm just golfing.
I know. They wanted us to run and lift in the winter. I'm like, what the heck?
Me and Ben were talking about that though, like how much lifting has involved in athletes, because just when I was in high school, it wasn't really a big thing for females, and now it's just like which is great. It's great. So Ben's been joining us this summer. He's an athlete. He's from Fort Dodge. He's interested in the financial world, and he just kind of wanted to get his feet wet. So what made you interested in finances, Ben?
So actually, my sophomore year, during the whole COVID period when everything was shut down, my rugby season got canceled, and I was like, well, I got so much time on my hands, and I had a wrestling coach who is also a financial advisor, and I was just interested in what he did, and I was like, well, this is very important. Like I just started to realize this is something that I should have knowledge about, and I don't know anything about it. So I was actually just scrolling through TikTok, and algorithm, you like something, it's like, oh, it shows another financial video, and I was like, well, maybe I'll look into this on YouTube. And there's just a huge finance world on YouTube that'll give you a ton of information on basically anything you want to find. And I started looking into that, and I was just like, well, this is something that I want to go into, and I can go to college for this. And just, it's been awesome to have this opportunity just to shadow and learn and step my foot in the business world, financial world.
Yeah, that's awesome, because there's so many avenues you can do in this business, and that's who we're going to talk about today, Kole Petersen.
Wow. Okay, yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go. Obviously, financial advisor is just one of them, but we're happy to have Ben join us for the summer, and we'll see where that leads.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know if Ben's going to end up pursuing a career in that, but at least he's getting his feet wet. But there's a lot to learn and a lot of different ways that you can go in finances.
And talk about information overload, because I was just thinking about this.
Gosh.
I bet it's so overwhelming for young people, where I feel like we didn't have any access to that, and a lot of people grow up and don't, there's no education on basic finances, where you guys are probably what's right, what's wrong, there's probably a lot of information.
That is a good thing. I mean, for as much as we're addicted to our phones and social media, but even TikTok, if you want to learn about a topic, now you can get some bad information too. So you gotta learn when to filter and how to filter. But talk about just general education, scrolling through, and you get your algorithm on, whether it's marketing, finance, whatever it might be, or entrepreneurship. There's so much out there. But Ben, what are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in finance. So
Are you?
I'm just,
okay.
Yep.
That's what I thought. I just didn't know. I actually didn't even ask you. I just assumed you had some tie, whether it's business, because finance is a pretty broad topic. It can be business, be management, a lot of different areas to go into there.
Well, we've talked about this. I think finance ties in so closely with sports that if you are in a sports realm, or in a college athlete, or at least a former athlete, you relate so well to the finance world, because it is a competition. It is competitive.
Discipline, right?
And
Discipline's a big,
and work ethic, and there's so much goes into the finance business that relates to sports. It's like, if you succeed at sports, you can probably succeed at finance, because there's a lot of things that correlate.
Or in the business world, like entrepreneurship, like we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking of, is that how you got into the business, Kole? Were you scrolling TikTok? Was TikTok? Yeah. Just aged him. No, I'm
Poor
just kidding.
guy.
We are
Poor guy.
excited though, because we have talked about Kole J's story. We've had a lot of great entrepreneurs, but now we're going to talk about Kole Petersen. So Kole, how did you get started in the? And this is great for Ben to hear your story too.
Right.
So how did you get started? Like, tell us about your background in the world. How did you become in finances?
Well, first of all, when I got started, Facebook was barely a thing because it was back in 2006. But so I was in the golf business out of college. I became an assistant golf pro, and I was a head golf pro at Ida Grove Country Club after my assistant golf pro at Beaver Hills. And kind of at that time, I was like, I wonder if I want to own a golf course, but I just didn't have any money. I was 25, 26 years old, but I wanted to eventually, always knew I wanted to eventually own my own business, but I just didn't know how to get there. But in 2004, I met a nice young lady that I already knew, but we started dating, and then I got married. In
There's always a lady.
2006.
There's always a lady.
It's always
Ben,
a lady.
remember that. Remember that, Ben.
It'll take you just down their path.
Right.
For the better, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Good save.
So in 2006, we're getting married in October. Golf courses are shutting down in Iowa, so nobody's really hiring, and I'm moving to Des Moines. So I'm like, well, I have to get a job. Funny sideboard to that, too. On my marriage certificate, it says I'm unemployed, by the way.
That's awesome.
Wow, I bet the in-laws were proud.
Right.
Good choice, Molly.
Right. So I'm moving from Ida Grove, Iowa to Des Moines, Iowa. Obviously, Des Moines, tons of jobs. Started just applying for jobs, and landed on a couple and ended up at Principal Financial Group in a job where I basically told Molly, I'm going to do this for 3 to 6 months till the golf course is open. Then I'm probably going to get a job at a golf course. End up staying there for 12 years.
So it went well. Your plan went well.
Yeah.
What a great place to start, though, for anyone. Principal is like a solid company.
Yep, very solid company, Fortune 500 company, and they train well. They give you the tools you need to succeed. And the job that I started in was in the 401k area, and I didn't know a thing about 401ks. And so I was kind of where Ben is at right now. I mean, really, I walked into a job and I was like, okay, tell me what to do. What should I learn? Take a test. There's so many things that you don't know going into it, but you can learn quickly. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you were in the 401k department, and then did you evolve at Principal, or what was your next step in your career?
Yeah, so 401k department, then became a manager in the 401k department, and then also wanted to get into this more of a sales role. That's what I always wanted to get into. So I moved over to what was called Principal Connection at the time, and that was the group that helped people that actually left 401ks. So you leave your job, you get a letter from Principal, call this number, we'll help you with your 401k. I was the number that you called. I helped people roll over their 401ks to IRAs. It was sales, but not sales. I mean, they didn't have to do it, and we were just there to service them. But the more you did, the more you got paid. So that was a good part about that. And then after that, I moved to a mutual fund wholesaler where I got to be a hybrid in Chicago and in Rockford, which meant that I traveled there and I sold mutual funds to financial advisors to use. And that's where I got introduced to financial advisors, really.
That's what I was going to ask. When you were at Principal for 12 years, so where was that? What was the timeline where you're like, I'm going to be a financial advisor? Because I'm sure it didn't, it wasn't year 12. You're probably somewhere in the line, you're like, I'll probably transition because this is, you had that entrepreneur kick already, you're a business owner, you knew. Yeah. So when was that, or when did that start coming about?
Yeah, well, starting in 2006, obviously you guys know what happened in 2008.
Yep.
So in 2008,
I graduated college. Or high school, excuse me. Go ahead.
We're aging Kole a lot here.
Oh boy. So in 2008, obviously nothing was happening. No one was moving jobs. We were actually hiring in the 401k department because the market's crashing. People are calling in, what's going on with my 401k? So we were the only department in the whole world that was still hiring. So that was crazy times. So no thoughts of financial advising at all through that. But when I got to the mutual fund wholesaler, when I got to Connection and I started doing the IRA rollovers, I was like, this is something I can really talk to people about.
You were dealing with customers or clients.
One-on-one, personal.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was all over the phone, and it was all 50 states. Like I was licensed in all 50 states, and so it was different than actually meeting with people in person. But I felt it's kind of a personal connection with people, but it was really like I would help you with your account and then I'd move on to the next person.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't really like that. I kind of would rather build relationships. And that's what I did as a mutual fund wholesaler is I built relationships with advisors. And then I kind of saw how they, evolve their business, and I got to do some client events. So really it was kind of between the connection and the mutual fund wholesaler. So I would say in 2012, 13, 14, 15, I was like, I really want to kind of start looking at this financial advisor position.
Okay, so you're at a great employee. You have great benefits. I'm sure you're making good money. You are like pretty set. Like your wife has lived in Des Moines for a long time. You guys have kids. Like think about that transition real quick. So how do you go from employee to business owner and move back and go to full-time financial advising? Like tell the people how you got there and that decision. So just, Kole's employee, and then he literally moves back and he's out on his own. And he decides, I'm doing it. I'm a financial advisor.
Well, everything changed in May of 2016 when an ultrasound specialist turned a screen towards me and said, there's two. And so those were going to be my third and fourth children and twins. And Molly and I were already we had two kids already. We were thinking of third, possibly a fourth, but never thought we'd get them together.
They're great.
Yeah, they're awesome now. But those first couple of years are rough. And so in May of 2016, when I heard the news, I kind of was like, boy, it would be nice to move back to Fort Dodge and have more of the grandparents around. And we had talked about it already, but that was really when I started pursuing that. But it didn't happen until November of 2017 because you don't want to rush into those decisions, obviously. But yeah, when I talked to Molly, when I actually had made a decision or thought I was making a decision, you always got to run it by your wife, of course. But I was like, hey, I'd like to leave this job at Principal where we're real comfortable and got all the benefits and everything and move back to Fort Dodge with no benefits and 4 kids and no guaranteed paycheck.
I love that word comfortable though, because think about that as an entrepreneur. Like, that's the opposite of being an entrepreneur, is being comfortable.
You got a risk, right? And it was obviously calculated. You're an organized guy and understand that. So you thought you could be successful. You had a lot of knowledge in the business. Before we get too deep though, you told a funny story. Speaking of the twins, you got to tell the listeners a story. It was pretty funny about your girls in the Cubs game.
Oh yeah.
Just before we get too far. So
yeah, so Molly and I took the girls to their first Cubs game just by themselves. They had went to a game with their brothers, but that was earlier this spring. So we took the girls to a Cubs game by themselves, and it was hot that day. It was like 90 degrees. But the second inning, so we had been there not even an hour, Etta is laying down on Molly's lap, and she says the words, "I don't know if I can live like this."
I thought that was awesome. Yeah, I knew it was a short story, so I thought it was awesome.
Because she was so hot and sweaty. And,
I appreciate it. I didn't know standards.
Yep. Kids are the best. They're just
funny.
No
and our thing is, our seats are in the shade too, so it's not that
Baseball's
bad.
long.
It was the second inning.
Long. She knows what's coming.
That was a long game. We got up and moved around a lot that game, but yeah.
All right, so you've moved back. You now are a financial advisor, and now we can fast forward a little. You've built this book of business. You're a full-time advisor. Like, what are the key factors that have contributed to your success being an advisor and starting here? And how's your business evolved?
Well, I think in September of 2019, when I hired my first assistant named Bailey Ashbrook, that was a great move.
How funny.
2019 Employee of the Year.
Yeah.
Hey, 2020, 21, 22, 23.
No, I do look back on that decision and us two teaming up is that really started my business on a different direction. Like, I never knew if I could pay someone to actually, you don't know until you get there. And Kole knows this. It's like, you can do all the predictions and projections and everything that you want to and try it. But until you actually do it, you don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
I didn't know the move back to Fort Dodge was going to work, but I told Molly, I was like, I think we're good, but I don't know.
But you have done a really great job building a team, recruiting Kole. I mean, having employees. And like I was telling Ben this morning, so much goes into this business as a financial advisor. Like, we spent an hour just doing paperwork for one person this morning. Like, you can't do it on, like, there's so much little things in customer service and all that stuff.
But
so
any entrepreneur is one attribute you almost have to have. If you want to, grow at all, grow your team, you have to be able to surround yourself with good people and know the attributes you want out of people. And that's, or the qualities they need to have to be successful on your team. And I think that's one thing you've obviously done a good job of. And it helps. I mean, that helps drastically, especially in our business.
Yeah. You definitely have to surround yourself with good people, and you have to trust them too. And you have to be able to rely on them and have them be able to make decisions on their own. And I've said that to you several times, like, hey, you make that decision. Like you've got to be able to, I think you have to be able to empower people too, to make those decisions and like have them kind of own that part of the business as well. So it's been a good road. There's been bumps, as every business knows. There's ups and downs.
Failing forward.
Yeah, you have to fail forward sometimes, but overall, it's been a great move. We've built a good business together, and we're just getting started too.
Cool. They're killing it.
And
agree.
I always try to hire younger than me. So that's
we've got younger
More
in the room as we're
athletic than
sitting
you.
in the room as old, younger.
Oh,
young.
did you just call me old?
No, not old.
Mature.
Oldest. Yeah.
There you go.
Seasoned.
So I picked up on two words you said earlier: connection and building relationships. And you and I just not breaking you up, but you are so good with people. You're so good at taking care of people. I think that is why you're successful with your clients, is because you really care about them. You have like a heart of a teacher. If you didn't know this, Kole thought about being a teacher. And you also have the mind of an advisor. So it's like a good combination.
Coach teacher, I could see that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part about like working one-on-one with people and coaching them and helping them? Like what's the most rewarding thing you would say?
The most rewarding thing with working with people, I think, is actually getting them to the finish line. When you actually get to go into their retirement plan and mark them retired, or go to their retirement party and like celebrate with them, I think that is the ultimate satisfaction. But just doing things that are right for your clients and getting them, keeping them happy. So the best thing that we can ever get is a referral from a client to someone that's not a client, and they come to you and say, hey,
Kole will take
you gotta
care
work.
of it.
You got to
He's
work with so and so. Cole's great. He's
Yeah.
helped us out with this, and this. Like,
exactly. And every time I do that, I'm just like, gosh, I didn't even know if that person was happy, but they must be. That's good. So I'm always, I guess, I think I'm more of a skeptic. Like I always am trying to keep people happy. So when I finally get confirmation of that, that's also very satisfying. That I know that they're happy, because they wouldn't refer somebody to me if they weren't.
Hey there, listeners. This episode of How to Money with Kole and Kole is sponsored by BetterHelp. I don't know about you, but for me, finding the work-life balance of being a husband and father and working a job has been so rewarding, but it also can be so exhausting. And that's why it's important for me to take care of my health, and not just my physical health, but my mental health. And that's where therapy comes in.
BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service. And you know what's great about it? It's 100% online.
With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of challenges. To get started, you just have to answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call.
You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge.
With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you with more scheduling flexibility at a more affordable price.
Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/CFG to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/CFG.
All right, let's do a little dollars and cents, y'all.
Dollar bills, y'all.
All right, it's halftime. Halftime on the year, right? It's, we're July 6th as of today. So, I'm the kind of like the podcast statistician, I feel like.
You are.
With all the market
guy.
stats.
Yeah.
But I love my market stats.
Stat of the day.
Yep. And I'm history tends to, especially in the market, tends to repeat itself, right? We have pullbacks at certain times, returns. So this is a halftime stat for our listeners here. So since 1945, so take that, 60, 70 year period, 23 times since 1945, the S&P has rallied more than 10%. So this is one of those 23 times. On average, so those 23 times, on average, the market was up 82% of the time, more than 10%. So you
The
think
rest of the year.
Yeah, the second half of the year.
So not just the 10 plus, it's like 10, so 20 total.
Yeah, 20%. So statistically speaking, since then, we're very likely that we could see another 10% return or greater in the second half of the year. Now, we're never predicting the future. That's just what
No
the
guarantees.
what the stats say. Now, on the contrary to that, so if the market's up 10% or less since 1945, the second half of the year, the average return was 3.5%. So you think about that, if you were on 10% or less, it's very likely, and that's 65% of the time the market was up, but it was only on average 3.5%. So odd, you never think about that. You think that would almost be backwards, where we were short, less returns at the beginning of the year. We're going to have greater at the beginning, but it's a momentum thing, really. That's what we talked a lot of. It's momentum, and there's a lot of factors and uniqueness of this market. But one thing that, if you're looking purely at stats, there's a good reason to be optimistic for the second half of the year.
And I think the reason to be optimistic too is because we were down so much last year. We had
agreed.
We had a long ways to get back to, even when we're still not quite there yet. At least to the top of the market where it was at.
And if you dig into those numbers, that's probably something where a lot of those years,
following a down year.
Yep, following a down year. But I think statistically, this was before 2 years ago. Like over 100 years, like 78% of the time the market's up, something close to that. So there's a lot of back-to-back years on there too as well. But very interesting. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, usually when you have a negative year like we had last year, it's going to follow 2 to 3 good years, or at least flat years. They're not going to be another significant downturn.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Historically.
Historically. Yeah. I like the disclaimer.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I know. We got to have those in there. They're in our world. Sorry, I kind of mumbled there. Okay, Kole P, back to you. I know you love being asked questions.
I don't know about that.
Okay, so what would you say is the biggest difference from being employed to business owner? For someone out there thinking, I really want to own my own business. Like, I'm just nervous. Like, I know I'm meant to own my business and I don't want to be an employer. Like, and we joked about this before because Abby was an episode. She owns Stella. She was talking about, everyone's like, own your own business and you can go on vacation all the time. But she was like, now I work 78 hours a week. So like, what would you say to someone thinking about taking that risk and becoming an entrepreneur and doing their own thing?
It is the most rewarding thing that you can do if you have the mindset to do it. Because I felt like when I was at principal in my last role, I was a mutual fund wholesaler. It was kind of like owning your own business, but you didn't get to make all the decisions because I had my own territory. I made my own schedule. I could work when I needed to. I didn't work but you also find yourself working more. And sometimes you work on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and things like
Nights.
that. So yeah, yeah. But the question that you asked was like what advice I would give. Mm-hmm. Be ready. It's going to be a little bit of a long road, and you've got to be committed to it too. And then also build the support system around you. Like I had Molly, who's been super supportive. Like she knew like if I'm going to go in, I got to go 100% in. And she kind of teases me about that. It's because I'm either 100% in or I'm 100% out.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that too. 100%.
Why are you guys laughing?
Just on anything you do. You get involved in boards or whatever it is. Like you're going to be involved.
Guy.
You're not going to let stuff
You're committed.
slide. Yeah.
I have to say no a lot.
Yep.
I mean, I do. And
you've gotten better at saying no
because I probably have a little bit of an obsessive compulsive. I can't even say it. I can't even say it without laughing. Yeah. I mean, I do. I do have that personality, and I know it. I know that about myself. So I'm also aware that I can't get involved in something that I can't be 100%, involved or have 100% invested. And I don't necessarily have to make all the decisions. But it's certainly better for my personality if I can.
Talk about I just had this thought of like very interesting attribute of a business owner or entrepreneur is probably the ability to say no. Mm-hmm. Like you think about that, like think of you're getting asked all the questions and it's less, we're creatures of least resistance, right? So yes is easy. No is conflict, a lot of times. And that's kind of interesting. But yeah, and obviously as your kids and everyone gets busier, you can't be involved in everything because if I'm involved in it, I want it to be ran to my standards, which is pretty high. Mm-hmm. So
right, yeah, and as long as you hold those high standards of yourself and what you're going to do in your business, I think you can be successful. I think the people that aren't successful, like, I'm going to do this 50%. or I'm going to be, 80% in and 20% out. You can't do that. It just doesn't work.
Doing it for the wrong reasons, right? I mean, you can't do it for the money. You can't do it, obviously those are the positives of being an entrepreneur, freedom, things there, but you also got to do something you love, right? You talked about your transition in the principal organization, and you obviously liked dealing with people and clients
and teaching and coaching.
Yes.
Right. And I think that what really pushed me to make the decision at principal was I was in line for a job that I felt I deserved. I mean, I felt like I deserved it, and I wasn't even given an interview. So I was like, okay, I think I'm capped out here. Like they might not realize my potential, and the company's really big, and they have a lot of opportunities to people who to hire and so I'm not going to go into that, but I felt like there was a job that at least I deserved an interview, and I didn't get it. And I was like, okay, I think it's time to,
you wanted to be in control of your own destiny. And I was just thinking that when you said standards, like your standards, like entrepreneurs, like success, their standards are so high. I think some people look at those standards and there's like, why would they, they just can't even conceptually understand that. And I think you knew coming back, you had the potential, and yourself, and you betted on yourself, and you do like control a lot, which isn't a good thing though. It's
another entrepreneur,
I'm sitting between, I'm pot kettle, but control like it, but it is like, and it's a learning experience. Like you have learned to trust people and say no. And I've watched you evolve so much, and like, shout out to giving to Molly, because you do have to have that person that believes in your dreams and will go with you. So much else.
Do you have, I'm just curious, because I do know a lot of your story, but this just came, another thing, kind of random thought here. Do you have someone that really had a big impact, like on your decision, or maybe your business development, someone you consider a mentor, or you don't even need to give a name if you don't want to, but somewhere along the lines, because that's where it's always interesting. It seems like there's a lot of times someone that makes that step. They had someone that maybe pushed them over the edge, or it was like, oh, you can do this. Like you have the traits to do this.
Yeah. Other than my wife, I would say that so you work closely with an external wholesaler, and he lived in the Chicago area, and his name was Tobin Shakeen. And he really believed in me, and he basically said, I feel like you can do anything, and he didn't say you shouldn't be in this job, like you need to do bigger and better things. But when I told him about the job that was open at principal, he knew about it, and that I didn't even get an interview. I mean, he was even more upset than I was, and he's just like, I think you gotta look at other options. And I didn't necessarily tell him exactly what I was doing as far as looking back in Fort Dodge, but when I told him what I was doing, big huge hug, like you're gonna crush it. Like he had more confidence in me than I think I had in myself, and I think that was a great thing, and a great person to have in my life at that time.
Great question.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm looking at young Ben. Look at him, 19, full of life. You know what I mean? Athlete. What would be your biggest piece of advice for Ben? Someone wanting to get into this world. What would you say to him?
Yeah. So Ben, I would say don't be in too big of a hurry, because it doesn't all happen right away. And it took me a while to get there, and I think my experience at principal got me to a place where I could be successful. If I would have done that at 23, I don't know if I would have been as successful. Probably not, obviously, because I didn't have Molly in my life at that time. But believe in yourself, and when the time is right, don't be afraid to take the risk.
What would you tell him, Cole J? What would you tell Ben?
I want to piggyback on that. I think that's delayed gratification. Right, I think that's and there's and again, don't know the exact, there's probably a stat on this somewhere you could find from the stat guy here, but I know I read a lot of entrepreneur books, business owners, whatever it might be. Huge thing is they had a patience in their path. They weren't trying to make grow the business all at once. So be patient. You're going to probably make a decision that's right or wrong, and continue to evolve, and make sure you're always learning. I think that's the number one thing. Whether you're an employee for 10 years and you build that knowledge base like Kole did, and then boom, jumped in, or however it might be, make sure you're constantly learning and understanding that it doesn't all come at once. Because it as athletes, as competitors, you want it to happen yesterday, when a lot of times it takes 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might be, and a lot of learning.
Wait, you guys didn't become successful overnight?
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
Instant success.
Yeah, no such thing. Well, I even
Not a
was
chance.
kind of telling Ben this because, he's very exposed to things we weren't exposed to as a young, there's just the continuing little habits and efforts you put in, even with investing. Everyone wants a quick, big win, but statistically, just doing it, contributing monthly, doing the same things, it really adds up.
Consistency.
Over time. Yes, consistency.
I got a question. Who's the best golfer in the office?
Me? No.
Definitely not Bailey.
No. Best basketball player by far, but golfer.
Oh boy.
Golf. Real sport.
We'll give it consistency. We were just talking consistency. Eddie, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say this,
unfortunately,
Eddie is the best, the most consistent golfer. I think we all have the ability. We're very competitive. That's what makes our relationship pretty funny because we all will be really mad at each other or want to win.
Do you guys all break clubs or is that just you?
Come on.
That's just Kole J. My old man maturity, I don't break clubs anymore. I did at one point in my life.
It was an A club.
So it comes with age.
This year.
I've seen you break multiple clubs, but I would say the good thing about our relationship with me, Kole, Cody, and Eddie, any one of us can win on any given day too.
That's what makes it fun.
Eddie's more consistently probably a top, but Kole J's been lately, and sometimes I'll grab him, but old man game, short game, I would take mine against anybody but Kole can hit it so much further than I can.
He's younger. He lifts.
Okay, on a more serious note here, as a 19-year-old, I have a question of how do you find somebody that's going to mentor you into the financial field, or when you're looking for somebody, what would you look for?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, a great question. Don't be afraid to ask, right? I think people, especially, it's always hard to judge success from a cover, but someone that owns a business, runs a business, reach out, say, hey, I'm interested in this field. I'm looking for some knowledge in your industry. Can you tell me about the industry? Can I, come to your office, meet? I think almost anyone that I know that's a business owner, if you called them and said that, almost every single one of them, I can't think of one person that they'd be like, no, I can't do that.
Because successful people want other people to
thrive
be
on it. They thrive on it and want to see, and that's what a great trait in a lot of entrepreneurs is they feed on other people's success.
And I think part of that is they don't see you as a threat either. If you're asking them questions, they think, okay, they're interested in what I'm doing. Maybe I think an entrepreneur would always be like, okay, how can I help this person? And maybe we can partner in the future or something like that. So I agree with you. Don't be afraid to ask, and then just take in the information and ask questions while you're there and take in that information. And some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be bad, but always be asking, always be interested, and always want to learn more.
You never know where that relationship's going to take you to. You reach out to someone that you don't even know, and they look successful, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, you guys connect and you're down a whole different path because you took that step of trying to learn from someone else.
Yeah, I just don't think you can replace a good mentor and what that means for you in your life. You talked about yours, and I mean, Ben, I know of a couple good ones. I'm sure I've told Ben this though. I'm like, before you leave, sit down and just say, can I ask you questions for 20 minutes? Can I interview you? And I think taking notes and interviewing people, successful people, is just so
it's like we're doing
powerful.
Here.
For sure. You should do that.
Yeah. Great question. All right, Kole J, good luck golfing tomorrow.
Yeah.
You gonna beat Eddie?
This weekend. One more day. Yeah.
Well,
Saturday, Sunday.
I'm so thrown off with the holiday.
Yeah. City tournament. It is weird having the 4th of July on a Tuesday, and then market was a half day on Monday, and then go Cubs, Cubs for Kole P. Have fun in New York. That's going to be awesome.
Kole P, I will say this. I will end with this. I appreciate you hiring me back in 2019. It's been awesome learning experience, but you're a good person. You really care about people, and I just think that's irreplaceable when it comes to this world.
Well, I only hire good people, so that makes you a
Didn't Molly
good
tell you
person.
to hire me?
She didn't tell me to hire you.
You guys are going to make me throw up with all this.
He hates Kole J doesn't like feelings. He has a bunch, but don't say them.
Unless I'm mad, apparently.
Anger is a feeling and emotion. I don't know who doesn't need to hear that. But all right, from Kole P's favorite baseball player ever, Barry Bonds. But to be the best, you must face the best. And to overcome your fear, you must deal with the best.
Go Cubs.
You've been listening to How to Money with Kole and Kole, the podcast of the Central Financial Group, courtesy of Spin Market. To learn more, visit their website at www.centralfinancialgroup.com and follow them on all their social media platforms.
For now, I'm Kole,
And I'm Kole.
and we'll see you on the greens.
4.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associations Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Royal Alliance Associations Incorporated is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associations Incorporated. Material discussed is meant for general informational purposes only, and it is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. Diversification does not insure against loss. Any guarantees discussed refer only to fixed insurance products and are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.